Hey, what's up shopkeepers, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we will talk to you guys about the 5 mistakes. And what does this entail? So just going directly into the video, I wanted to say that the very first mistake that I made in the very beginning of my stream hobby is actually the itchy hand or itchy finger syndrome. And what does this mean? It means that we are often being asked to try this and try that, and then we started putting in a lot of this powder, we put a lot of this food, we put a lot of other stuff in there, and that actually created a lot of problems in the tank. And after we have a lot of problems in the tank, and that is where they ask us to get more and put this and put that, do this and do that. So the entire water parameters, the entire system has kind of like gone haywire, and that is the reason why the itchy finger syndrome is one of the things that personally I think is very important to know, that we shouldn't be so I take that back. I think we can add stuff. However, I think what we want to actually say is that we have all the entire environment being built at the very beginning versus trying to fix the thing. So that's the very first mistake that I actually have. So having the itchy hand syndrome. So now I do not actually dip my hands and do this and do that to make sure that there is always continual stability. I think that is where the streams actually like it. And then the second part of this mistake that I made in the past is that like a lot of breeders, we actually started off with this hobby, and then I started rushing, meaning that I don't believe in all this cycling, all this are nonsense. Just put the soil in, put the water in, and then you can put the streams in 7 days. Have the quick fix. It's okay. Don't worry. The streams can handle it. Ammonia is not a problem in low pH. It's a very, I think it started rushing, and then I realized that the plants don't do well, the streams don't do well, and ultimately when you start to scale, when you have scale, then you realize that whatever that is being mentioned to me in the very beginning was not really true. I actually wanted the streams to actually survive in a much better environment. So that's the reason why rushing is the second mistake that I actually made. And that's also the reason why we encourage people now to actually take it slowly, have all the cycles done, do it properly, and before you put the streams in, because streams to us is actually like a pet, like a life. It is alive. We don't treat them as numbers or units or anything. So they are alive, and that's the reason why we do not want to have them suffer or don't do well in terms of optimum condition. So that's the second part. And the third one, I think the third one is one of the more, it is a topic by itself. However, I would like to probably just share with you guys about the mistake that I made. So in the very beginning, I didn't have a mentor. So I just started this with, I just go in and then I learn. I thought that, being a smart aleck, I have 20 years of fish breeding experience. There's no problem, with keeping streams. I mean, how difficult can it be? However, I got proven wrong. For those who have been following me, you know my backstory. I got scammed and things like that. And then I realized that having a mentor is actually very important. The reason is that they will share with you different perspective, however you want to learn it. And that's also the reason why I wanted to say that if I have a mentor in the very beginning, that would have changed things a lot. However, it's also not too late, not having a mentor. So I think that's a whole topic altogether in selecting a mentor and choosing a mentor. I think that's where I wanted to move on to the fourth mistake that I made. The fourth mistake I made is actually the baseline mentality. What is the minimum? So I think the baseline mentality is where it gets quite controversial in the sense that different mentors have different baseline. So some mentors have higher baseline, some mentors have lower baseline. So there's no right or wrong in this. Also, there are different people who wants to keep this in a different manner, who has a different direction in life, totally different ways of breeding streams, totally different direction. So there is no hard and fast rule. However, the baseline mentality for me is not something that I actually encourage. So I actually encourage, you know, doing the best you can afford, the best that you can actually provide to the streams. I think that is where we wanted to make the differentiation. So the baseline mentality, for example, you know, doing water change, doing, you know, cleaning your tanks and things like that. So these are the so different people have different baselines. So some of the baseline, for example, is that okay, if ammonium is not dangerous in it's not toxic in low pH, then why do you bother even to cycle the tank? Just throw the streams in and let them do well. So the whole idea is not about whether is it toxic or not, whether is it suitable or not. So the whole idea is that we want to present or have or create the best environment for the streams. So we don't want to have ammonia in the tank. We want to make sure that the tank is mature. We want to make sure that there's sufficient biofilm in the tank before we introduce the stream. So that's the different baseline of that. And I have a lot of friends that keep new Caridinas and they are fine with it as well. So they say, oh, why not? You know, after 7 days, I can put them. Even after 3 days, they started putting streams in. So is that right or wrong? So it depends on the baseline, you know. If you treat your streams well and you want them to prosper, I mean not prosper, you want them to do really well, you can see the, you know, their activity, they are doing well, they swim a lot, their colors are nice, you know. However, there's something that I would like to emphasize is that breeding streams isn't an indication of anything. You know, breeding streams is like, okay, they have to breed, whether regardless of poor water quality condition or, you know, or things like that. And the reason is because if we see, you know, in human history and even the animal kingdom, you know, the whole idea for animals, male and female, to actually exist is that they have to procreate in terms of their environment. So for example, if the environment is not ideal, they still have to breed. If they can breed, they will breed. So that's how it's being categorized in terms of the animal kingdom. And that is where, you know, a lot of people say, hey, you know, don't do this, you don't have to do water changes, you don't have to do you know, there's a lot of things that you don't have to do. You know, just leave the tank there, let them breed, and then that's about it. You don't even need to cycle the tank and things like that. So I think the baseline is really very different. So that's the reason why the previous mistake that I have about, you know, having that mentorship and things like that, and choosing your right mentor is very critical in the success of your journey. So success can also, you know, it depends on your, you know, the breadth and the depth of your success. You want to scale up, or you want to just have few tanks. Having a few tanks and you want to say that, oh, I'm very good, I've done this for the last 20 years, these 3 tanks are fine. I mean, who are we actually comparing it to? Do we compare that to a person who has 500 tanks? And what kind of success and what kind of depth that the other breeder have? So this is all very relative in the sense that if you have 10 tanks versus a 10 tank breeder versus a 50 tank breeder versus a 100 tank breeder, it's all very relative in the sense. The direction is also very different. How they do things is also very different. So in terms of baseline mentality, I had it in the past, you know, why bother, you know? It's supposed to be an enjoyable hobby. Don't do water changes, don't care about the streams. As long as they don't die, that's the baseline. So, but now I have changed drastically because I understand that while nitrate may not be very harmful in high levels, even up to 80 ppm, but even higher levels, you know, there's even saying that, oh, you don't have to do water change, you know, nitrates will never ever exceed a certain point of ppm. But that's not the direction that we want to provide. I mean, there's many ways to live as well. You can retire at 50, you can retire at 55, healthy or obese, is entirely up to you. So the very baseline, that is where sets the breeders apart. So the very fifth one is actually flooding. So that's a mistake that I actually have recently as well. One of the things is because I was, you know, I assumed that out of all this, you know, all these stream tanks, they are fine. You know, they have all the gadgets, they have all the float valve, they have all the Wi-Fi, everything, we have it installed. These 6 tanks over here, you can actually see that 2 of these are fish tanks, 2 of these are stream tanks, One of these is a Opeola and this is a Sulawesi tank. This float valve was not installed just for this 6 tank. Out of all the tanks that I have over here, all the tanks that we have over here, you know, over here, we have so many tanks. Out of that, we did not have the float valve installed here. And this is my mistake. And I think one of the things I say, you know, when you do not follow through your work, you know, like this, it's a very simple thing that I actually installed after the flooding. So what actually happened, this tank the water flooded because I did not install, because this is actually an independent pipe in. It's from a pH controlling device that pumped the pH 8.5 water into the tank, and then it flooded. So now after that, I think one of the mistake that I've made is that flooding is probably inevitable. So anybody who has gone into this hobby will probably in their lifetime will have 1 or 2 times of flooding. So even with, you know, all these gadgets here, you know, if I do not follow through with what I'm actually supposed to do, then definitely it will flood in time to come. So yeah, there are a lot of mistakes that I actually made, and I hope that, you know, from here you guys learn from my mistakes so that you guys don't experience the same mistake that I do. So yeah, so if you like this video, please remember to give a thumbs up. And for those who are new, please subscribe to this channel. And until next time, peace out.